So, Mark, what is the best option for Aaron's future?
Well, I think right now he's perfect where he's at. I don't think there's any reason to upset the apple cart at this point. I think if you read further into that interview he did, he explained that when he sat down with the GM and he met him in the middle, right? Quote unquote, met me in the middle. I think they recognized that he had some grievances. He didn't just put him in the suggestion box. He put him out for everybody to see, which was one way to handle things. And everybody's going to have their opinion on that. But the most important thing, they got the result they wanted. And clearly, he seems like he's in a great place. I mean, look at the turnover margin for the team, number one. He's on a great squad. They're getting him the ball back. They're first in turnover margin. I mean, these last 5 weeks, 281 passing yards a game, 14 touchdowns, no interceptions, 71% completion. But, like, what else do you want? So I think he's in the right spot, obviously. I think everything's going to depend on this playoff run. And the pressure is going to come in the championship game. Should they make it there, which they're slated to, that's where it's going to be, because that's where his issues have come. 1-4 record, his passer rating's a little more pedestrian at 83.7, 9 touchdowns, 8 picks. It's not very Aaron Rodgers in an NFC championship game. So they'll have the home field. Everything's set up for him. But what's crazy is he's got like this emergency exit plan. Like, don't pull this lever until there's an emergency, like on your plane. He's got this contingency plan, like just in case I got a parachute, I could hit this lever and, I'll see you in Denver kind of thing.
Yeah, that's what gives me pause. Like, what's best for Aaron Rodgers? Whatever Aaron Rodgers wants. But I don't know what Aaron Rodgers wants. I know what Tom Brady wants. He wants to win 15 Super Bowls and, be untouchable in the legacy of football. And I know what Russell Wilson wants. He wants to continue winning and play for a really long time. And I know what Matthew Stafford wants. Like, he's come to LA to try and win a championship. Aaron is mysterious. He is. He has this mystique about him. He has these Yoda quotes. And look, he's a layered guy and he's kind of controversial, and that's fine. But because of that, I really don't know what's best for Aaron Rodgers, because I would really be projecting my own expectations of his career on him to answer this question directly. So if Aaron Rodgers' motivation is to win more championships, then I would say stay in Green Bay. You have the power that you asked for now. You certainly have the leverage. We know that Jordan Love isn't the guy. Since they've taken him, you've won an MVP, been to an NFC championship game, number 1 seed in the NFC, lock up the division, home field advantage, and will probably win another MVP. So there's no questioning what your capabilities are. Mark just read all the statistics. But if your motivation is a new challenge, Green Bay is not the place. You know that place in and out. You've had 17 years there. And that's kind of how Aaron is wired. He kind of creates these little drama pockets throughout the season, and these enemies that don't really exist. And it's like the liberal mob media or whatever was talking about, like, hey, it's not canceled. There's still commercials and everything's still happening. So we know how he is. So because of that, I really don't know how to directly say what's best for him, because we don't really know what Aaron wants in the long term, which is fine. I'm actually comfortable with that, because I'm into different personalities in sports. Everyone doesn't have to be the same. And he has a championship. So if he didn't have a championship, then I think I would look at his career a little differently. But his legacy to me is set whether he wins another championship or not. And because of that, I really don't know what direction he's going to go in.
No, look, I think Mark pointed out, the Green Bay Packers are the best situation for Aaron Rodgers. It has always been the best situation for him since they drafted him. Great quarterbacks have to have 3 things to really tap into their full potential. They got to have protection, they got to have playmakers around them, and then they have to have a great play caller. But when I look at the Green Bay Packers situation, they have all of those things. They have consistently had an outstanding offensive line around Aaron Rodgers, so he doesn't get beat up and hit. And as he gets older, that's more important now than ever. The playmakers around him, Devontae Adams is the best wide receiver in football. And then what they did is they've upgraded the running back situation with Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. Well, now they're asking Aaron Rodgers to do less. And then Matt LaFleur in the system has allowed the artist to be in a structured environment where he doesn't have to freestyle and do all the things that he was doing previously. So when I look at that and I think about the defense that is playing well, Mark talked about getting the turnovers and giving him extra possessions. What else could Aaron Rodgers want? I know he likes the drama and the soap opera of this entire thing, but there's not another organization that can give Aaron Rodgers a better opportunity in a Super Bowl than what he has in Green Bay. If he leaves, he's not leaving for football reasons. He's leaving for life reasons, something that extends beyond the football field.
I think that's a great point. I think Joy brought it up, but if he wants a new challenge, if he wants something different, a new atmosphere, a new locker room, different teammates, whatever it is, I mean, he can kind of dictate his own terms too, especially if they go out on top this year and that's kind of his, sunset cruise ride out of this thing and just deuces. See you later. I mean, bring Devontae Adams with you. Go to Denver. Go rejuvenate that place like Peyton Manning did. And maybe that's this is a complete guess, but maybe that's what he feels like you have to do. Tom Brady went to another team. Peyton Manning went to another team. Before, it was kind of, Brett Favre even had done it. And at that time, it was crazy. You can't leave the Green Bay Packers, and that's your legacy. Well, maybe that's what he wants to do. I mean, I don't know for sure. Aaron's the only one who's going to know. And even if he does know, he's probably not going to tell us. So.
Well, everything seems to be going the right way for the Packers right now. But, Mark, is there added pressure on Aaron Rodgers this postseason?
Well, I think it's not like can he win the big one, right? Because he's got that the Super Bowl championship in his back pocket. But now people are just like, well, that was so long ago. And you can't argue with his production during the season and even the first couple rounds of the playoffs. But the biggest, issue there is, the first half of these championship games, 2 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. He's had a slow start to these games, whether it was at San Francisco, in Green Bay last year against Tampa Bay. And the way it ended, right? Like people question, hey, should he have run on that last, third down, fourth down? Did they give him the opportunities at the end? Did he want another crack at it? Did, they had to play, they didn't go for it on fourth down or whatever it was, and now the defense has to come bail him out. Like, did that leave a salty taste in his mouth? So if it ends exactly the way it did last year, then I think there's reason to leave. But if he goes through this thing, handles business, plays the way we've seen him play most of his career, other than those championship games, I think it's a done deal. He can ride out whichever way he wants. But, yeah, I think the pressure is really going to come in that NFC championship game. Everybody's going to bring up these exact same stats and say, well, this is kind of his kryptonite now. He's won a Super Bowl a long time ago, but this is where he really struggles. And that'll give whatever team they're playing a little motivation, thinking, hey, this guy, we can catch him on a bad day. This is when he has his bad days. Let's go get him.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. And to add a little bit more to it, this has been an extremely noisy year for even through the offseason and preseason for the Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers. And whether I think that should matter or not doesn't matter. It's going to play into it. He has been very public. He's had a lot to say about a lot of things. He's had the controversy with COVID this year. Whether we think that's important or not in the story of this season, it will be brought up. And it has brought a lot of extra attention to the team outside of just what they've been doing on the field. So will that add a little extra pressure? I think so. To your point, Mark, how those championship games have gone the past couple of years, it feels like they're always just right there. If he wins another MVP, winning back-to-back MVPs, and then still coming short of the Super Bowl or not winning the Super Bowl, will come into the story of his, his legacy. I don't think it will change how we view him as his talents and his production and what he's brought to the game of football. But as far as his championship legacy and what what his winning produced, it definitely will. And the extra things that happened around him and his interviews and the controversies will play into having a little bit extra pressure as well.
Oh, it's a lot of pressure because you can't be in that GOAT conversation without multiple rings. It is very similar to the conversation that we have around LeBron James. LeBron James can win one, but he had to go to Cleveland and win a title. He also had to come to L.A. and win a title. So for Aaron Rodgers, he needs to win another title in Green Bay because when you think about Eli Manning has 2 titles. Big Ben Roethlisberger has 2 titles. If Aaron Rodgers is all the things that we've said he is, one of the greatest passers that we've ever seen, one of the most talented quarterbacks that we've ever seen. Well, ultimately, quarterbacks are judged by their ability to win games and really their ability to win big games on big stages. Mark talked about all the failures that he has had in the NFC Championship game. I think his record is comparable to that of Donovan McNabb. We don't talk about Donovan McNabb being one of the greats. And I'm not saying that they're similar players, but at some point, you have to get back to the Super Bowl and win another one for us to put you even in that conversation with Tom Brady. So the pressure that we sense from Aaron Rodgers, it's only going to escalate because now that they're the number 1 seed, they're assured of getting home field advantage. Anything short of a Super Bowl is a disappointment. and that disappointment falls on the shoulders of number 12. So, yeah, the pressure is on, and it's on in a major way in Green Bay.
Yeah, those are really good points, Buck, on Eli and Big Ben. That was a really good point because those are his peers, right? And those are guys he's going to get compared to. But I think also when we step back, he's added a little bit of pressure for himself with some of the noise, right? And in some ways, I think he's comfortable with that. Like Joy talked about, you add a little controversy, a little bit like The Last Dance with Michael Jordan coming up with these reasons and, issues with all this stuff around me. And, okay, this guy's now the new enemy, or this is, my made-up perception of how I get motivated and how I get my flame burning to go win this game, to go accomplish the next task. I think Aaron has a little bit of that to him, and I think the best to ever do it have to, right? If you're that good at one thing, you might be deficient in others, but he's pretty damn good, and it's fun to watch.
Speaking of The Last Dance, he and Devontae did post those pictures
cryptic.
to start the season. So I've just kept back in my little petty pocket, reminding myself that this is the tone set at the beginning of the season. But when we're talking about finishing the season, how did this particular season finish for the Chicago Bulls? Success. So standard was set very early for this season in Green Bay.